Okay, hi guys. Hi, hello. So, welcome to today's session. Um, so, in this session, what we are going to do is, what I'm going to do is talk about market breadth. Okay, and we'll talk about market breadth in general, sort of today's market breadth, but also a little bit about what happens. How does the market breadth look like when market falls? Okay, and so we'll also look at some of the uh, data data in terms of when market was falling, how the market breadth looked like. Okay, so 8 बज के 1 मिनट हो गए हैं और होपफुली माय स्क्रीन इज विजिबल टू ऑल. होपफुली मनीष जी वो नॉइस भी चला गया हो, है ना? तो शुरू करते हैं. तो पहले तो मार्केट ब्रेथ क्या है? मार्केट ब्रेथ कुछ नहीं है. जो जनरली हम लोग व्हाट वी सी द इंडेक्स कि भाई इंडेक्स ये कर रहा है, वो कर रहा है ना? तो currently Nifty 500, which is generally the index which I use to sort of gauge the market health. And so we look at certain characteristics or certain plots which are derived from the data of all stocks in the market. Okay, so and those plots are called market breadth indicators. The most common one, okay, the most common one is percentage of stocks above their key moving averages, है ना? So currently what I'm showing you here, the yellow plot is what is the percentage of stocks which are above their key moving averages, 10 DMA. Okay, so 10 is mostly for short term moves in the market is what people use the 10. And similarly, if you want to see little higher to different time frames, you can also look at either the 20, which is this one. For now I will switch this off. This is the 50 and this would give you a slightly higher. And उससे भी अगर ऊपर देखना है तो you have the 200 day as well. Okay, so today what we are going to do is we are going to firstly use this and derive some idea about where the market is, both short term as well as long term. Okay, so when people say that market is overbought or market is oversold, right? What in my opinion is that it is one of the most misleading sentence one can make, one can say, one can write, until and unless the time frame is mentioned. So uh, oversold, overbought in what time frame, right? So certainly in a short term time frame, which is let's say the 10-day, this is not overbought right now. This is in fact sort of like it's not oversold as well. So oversold would be whenever it touches around or below 20, which means that, excuse me, Manish is calling me. Hi, Manish. Hello. Hello. Okay. Um, I hope everything is okay. Screen, chacha screen. Noise coming. Can't see your screen. Um, bro, only your YouTube is showing a part of your face. Okay. I will. I am actually sharing my screen again. Let me know if this thing is visible now. Okay. In the meantime, you can reply me on WhatsApp. I was trying to. Okay. Is the screen visible now? Okay. Great. Thanks, Manish. So I will quickly recap what I was saying is that, in this session today, my hope is to share with you guys a little bit about breath indicators. What is breath? Why we use breath? I hope all of you guys already know those things a little bit, and I will also talk about breath in short term as well as in a longer term. Why longer term? Because longer term breath will inform us more about the incoming top. Let's say because markets are probably overheated and apparently the top is coming. So we'll see the long term breath. How does it look like when markets go into bearish mode, right? And also on a shorter term level, because as swing traders, we are very much interested to time the bottoms. So this is what I was saying, that there are n number of ways to look at market breadth. The most simple way is to look at what percentage of stocks are above their key moving averages. So if you look at the shorter term moving averages, then what it is informing you is about the short term breadth, है ना? And in general, whatever be the case, in whichever time frame, what we go is we go in an oscillatory mode. We go from overbought to oversold, oversold to overbought, overbought to oversold, and that cycle repeats, in any time frame. So on a shorter time frame, we were sort of oversold around here, oversold around here, and overbought around here, in terms of breadth. And generally, sometimes how the general index moves might not be in sync with what is happening in the general breadth, underlying breadth. Okay, so that is one thing. Now, this plot is the percentage of stocks which is above the 10 DMA. So if you see around the last bottom, which was formed on the day of the big fall, actually 5th August was the lowest. Okay, and then we went sideways a little bit. At the time we hit the 20%. So stocks which were below above the 10 DMA hit below 20. So that breadth was oversold. So whenever things get oversold, then people think that okay, things are now at a value price, and that is why they buy, and then again we go to sort of a oversold area, sorry, overbought area. um, and then again, this cycle sort of repeats. So the other thing I was saying is that when people general say that things are oversold or things are overbought, without mentioning the time frame, that is one of the most misleading lines one can ever utter, है ना? So without time frame, relative strength, oversold, falana dhimkana means nothing. Okay, so first of all, what we are seeing right now is indices are at and around the 1021, and they are like the market is in a chop, right? Every day is a top, every day is a bottom. Mazak mein. But you can see that what's happening is after this 16th was the day when we sort of got the signal ki after the market has bottomed, that we are now probably starting an uptrend. 16 August very clearly was the bullish upthrust, where we knew that okay, markets are now recovering and going above. Uh, so that was one day. Now, in general, first of all, let me also clearly tell you what are the different other things in terms of market breadth which we use, right? So one is the simplest one, percentage of stocks above key moving averages, and the other one is the the one of the most primary indicators of market health, which is the net 4% movers. Okay, so net 4% movers may again is very simple. It basically tells you who are strong, buyers are strong, or the sellers are strong. So what what has been calculated is what percentage of stocks in the market. I mean, I generally like to use percentage. Many people just look at the absolute number. So what percentage of stocks are making more than 4% moves versus what percentage are making 4% moves. So advances, declines, and then you get the net number. Okay, so whenever the net is positive, in general, mota, that was a bullish day, right? So if you see today, the breadth is barely bullish. Today, the number pointed put here is 1.9. So 1.9 is barely bullish. Yesterday it was highly bullish, 8.5, but uske aage ka din 0.6, uske aage ka din negative. So this period is basically a chopping period, right? So we don't have a sustained sort of an up move, uh, uh, not a period of a sustained up move. So if you see the net breadth around here, you can see that you would be able to see that, during those period of time we had like a sustained green above the zero line here. Okay, so that is one of the most primary data. And uh, and the more primary, like the higher level data, is the net 52-week highs minus 52-week low, and that is plotted here. Or most of these, all of these are freely available in a trading view. And if you guys need the template, I will share that in the WhatsApp group later. So the other one, like I said, again, these are also very primary ones. This histogram is basically how many what percentage of stocks are making 52-week highs, minus what percentage of stocks are making 52-week lows. So currently today, 5% of stock made 52-week highs, and 0.4% stock made 52-week low, and so the net number is 4.6. So whenever this is also and then above zero, we mota know that things are working. Okay, so if you see, since the first week of June, which is basically after the general election results, we are mota in a bullish phase, but then the chop is there. Okay, so the chop is there now. So so okay, this is basically what is currently, right? So from going forward, what is it that we can anticipate कि market में क्या होएगा, है ना? So the मोटा my anticipation has been that we will sort of probably chop around this area, and then see, chart reading is like very simple as technical traders, right? We basically follow price, and above this we have to be bullish, and below this we have to be bearish. That's the mota gyan. And as in as and when things are above 1021, we have to be bullish, right? So 1021 is sort of the holy grail, especially for the short term traders. But then why do we see breadth then? So when we see the incoming bullishness, the breadth also should support for us to have more confidence on that up move. So for example, this 16 a day last August, when the it was very clear that the bottom has been made, and then we will go up for some period, at least couple of days. How did the breadth confirm? The breadth confirmed in multiple ways. If you can see here, first, the percentage of stocks that are above 10 DMA clearly crossed over its 5-day moving average, है ना? Along with it, also it made a higher low. So this clearly means that right now in this time versus this is a more stronger period, है ना? And with the bullish candle, plus with the net breadth, clearly also is a very uh, 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 it's a different concept. It basically means that um currently here the higher low is not very high, whereas in the net breadth the higher low is very high, है ना? So it clearly means that जितना दिख रहा है अपन को यहाँ पे, how much we are seeing it is bullish, is more bullish coming from the net breadth. So anyways, so on 16th we had a very green candle. So similarly, if 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 the bullishness has to come here, okay, and similar things is happening. So right now there probably is going to be a squeeze between the smaller moving average and 50, and so if it slides below 50, then we are clearly very bearish. But if it then comes above 1021, plus the breadth confirming. So when the breadth confirms, what will happen is that clearly we will start trending up. The direction of the plots will start moving up. Plus also the percentage of stock above 10 DMA will clearly go above the 50 line. Okay, so above 50 is sort of the bullish regime. Below 50 is sort of the bearish regime. Near to 20 is over sold. Near to 80 is overbought. So that is mota. So why we see breadth is not to predict the market. Okay, why we see breadth is to confirm whatever we are reading from the price. Okay, price is always the main thing to look at first, right? However, sometimes uh, divergences in breadth can be a leading indicator. Okay, so what are these divergences we are talking about? So to show this, what I will now show you is what happens, how the breadth diverges with the price whenever we are sort of making the long term top. Okay, so for generally for long term, I will prefer to use the 50-day and the 200-day moving average. So again, refreshing, what we are looking at here is this plot. Let me quickly change the color of this. Okay. Okay, let's go blue, whatever color this is. Okay, so what we are looking at here is so this is the 50 line, this is the 0 line, and the magenta color line is basically what percentage of stocks are above their 200-day moving average. Okay, and here is the 80. So around 80 is generally sort of the like very bullish phase, or shall we say the overheated phase. Okay, now if we look at, all right, so what we have here is um, so you can see that during COVID we were like at the, I mean, during COVID we were even like, so this is the COVID. During COVID we were extremely oversold, so we were below 19, and even like almost none of them were below or above 200-day moving average. But we came back, and we soon came back above 50, and then after some point of time we were like comfortably at around above 80, right? But what happens around the top, we start to see bearish divergence. Okay, so does not make a higher high. Now this is very normal, because price does not have a roof, whereas the breadth indicators will have a roof, in the sense that percentage of stocks above 200-day moving average cannot go above 100, है ना? तो ये तो मतलब ये roof होएगा. So if the bearish divergences occur at the bullish levels, है ना? This is a very clear distinction. Okay, like very uh, uh, so right now we have this top, we have this top, but the bearish diverge, the percentage above 200 days is also at the same level. This is fine, because 91 से ऊपर और ज्यादा नहीं जा सकता. This has a roof. But when we see that this guy is, the price is making a huge like up move, whereas the breadth is now actually making a down move. Whenever this sort of things appear on the breadth, you have to get cautious, right? So if you see the 50, you can also clearly see that the percentage of stocks above 50-day moving average also clearly diverged. Okay, and after that we started to make lower highs, है ना? So this kind of phenomena will definitely occur, but mota mota, whenever, so these kind of phenomena you have to be watchful when we are sort of topping. Okay, but when we are like sideways, matlab, like there is no bullishness, what does the what how does the breadth look like? The breadth will be below 200. Okay, so for example, if you go around this period when we were flat, okay, so this period would be Jan to we went below 50 and spent the whole time below 50. So during this period of time, you basically I mean, it will be very difficult to make money. This is not a bull run, you know? So this is, so again, uh, we don't need this elaborate plots to say that we are not in a bull run, but in general this is how it is. So if we then uh, compare how are we currently, so what do we see now? Okay, what we see is that, so we had sort of a top here, and then, like, let's say if one can call this a top, after that we had a very like a choppy period. You can also see that this period was very choppy for us, है ना? Post January, and if and if you had only seen Nifty 500, then maybe you might not feel it, but if you also see the breadth was continuously decreasing at that time. Okay, so looking at breadth, one can also have a feel if that time is like a easy money environment or not, because on an easy money environment the breadth will also increase. Yeah, the breadth will also increase. While the breadth is decreasing, that means it's actually not a easy money environment. So these kind of, so you see the percentage above whatever, this is 20 possibly, so even 50 is going down and down and down, and only when it sort of clips the 20%, which is basically very oversold, and then we again get a sustained bounce. Okay, whenever we clip this one. So these, in here also you can use trend lines. So for example, currently if you put a trend line here, then you know that we are very near to like sort of a trend line. Now, just like how trend lines in price work, yahan se agar if we get a reversal, then mota mota the anticipation could be that okay, a couple of days to a few weeks kind of a move might also be possible again, है ना? Because see, elaborate tops or market tops doesn't happen in a day or two, है ना? So if we are topping, we will still, I believe, do some chop and then eventually fall. But before that, the 50 will get flat and then will start moving down. Albeit that's in relation to the whole market. But if you see individual indices sectors, a lot of them has already fallen or about to fall, while some of them are also showing relative strength. Okay, so I will also show you a couple of that. But before that, let's finish what I was trying to say here. So in terms of a higher time frame breadth, which is also again clear on the 50 also, है ना? But again, if you also look at a slightly higher level, there is again a bigger divergence here. So uh, uh, the percentage of stocks above 200 here was way higher than what it is in this grouping, right? So there are some divergences which are coming up, and that is why it's very, it's good to be open about the long term sort of top being near. But again, I'm saying that all of these things are confirmatory. They are never to be used as a standalone. The only confirmation, primary confirmation you need is that of a price, you know. uh, I actually don't enjoy YouTube Live so much because it is just a one way chatter. I am not sure what kind of questions you guys have. I tried to open YouTube on my mobile, but there was this weird sound. So maybe next time I do this, I make sure that I have a way to read your comments and stuff like that. But when we are at it, what I want to do is I want to quickly go through the the indices to sort of say a few areas which are clearly getting stronger, and some of the names which are clearly sort of getting not getting stronger. So for example, if we, so there's a Nifty 500. So the general thing right now going on in the market is that money is moving to more defensive stocks or defensive sectors, um, and currently it's very obvious, but sometimes but it the trick is to find that out when it is happening. Okay, so for example, if you see the relative strength, that would be very clear. Okay, so in terms of index level, it is definitely small caps, mid caps are still stronger than the general market. Okay, why? Because this is the mid small cap index, and as compared to Nifty 500, we are still above zero, which means that we are still strong. And same is the case for small cap index. Same is the case for micro cap index. So they're all in green. They're still strong. है ना? What about banks? Nifty Bank is clearly underperforming the general market, and it's very clear. So if you guys use already Mars, which is the moving average relative strength by Nitin, anything below zero should not generally be chosen as chosen for your momentum or swing positional kind of a strategy. So again, here it's below zero. PSU banks. Now, see, this is coming from a very frustrated from a point of frustration. Like, um, in general, whenever we start trading, there is a lot of biases which comes out in your trading. One of the biases is that you are very defensive. You don't want to lose money, and so that comes out in us in the sense like, okay, everything has gone up. The one which hasn't gone up probably will go up now, and there is no way I can lose money. So and that kind of thing, bias will then force you or dictate to choose things which are not moving at all, and that should be avoided, and that can very much be avoided just by looking at the relative strength. You don't have to do any elaborate over analysis like I do, but you can just look at relative strength and see that whenever relative strength is clearly below 50, you just don't touch that, so Nifty PSU banks at some point of time was a hugely highest relative strength sector. In fact, it saw, I mean, only at this small period of time was a little less relative strength, but since like July 2022 was a very high relative strength sector. But now that relative strength is clearly lost, and so if you're still hunting names in this as a swing positional trader, it is not a very good thing to do. It is services is probably setting up as a cup and handle, but it's still not a relatively strong stock. Possibly when this guy breaks out here, then it will be better. PSE ये लुढ़क गया, below 50 लुढ़क गया, है ना? So 50 is in my opinion, like for a positional trader, 50 is sort of the boundary to say that okay, below 50 I will sort of not buy, and you can always buy the bounce from 50, but not below 50, है ना? Similarly, this is I sort of warned that this looked really good, but it turned out to be a fake out, and then after that, whenever it is going to lurking from the 50, that becomes very difficult. And you can also see that after this breakdown, the auto clearly have started to down perform, nahi, outperform, underperform the sort of the market. And you can also see that this probably would look like a head and shoulder and stuff. And then you come to sectors which, if you look at the index, it just doesn't look like it is from our market, because it is surfing the 1021 and on an uptrend. So whenever there is big base breakouts, so for example, Nifty Health had a big base breakout here on this day, and at that time, if you see the relative strength, it was really high, है ना? So if you see the relative strength on and before those days, this spike on the relative strength clearly told us that there is something happened during this. There is some huge sector rotation, some big money coming and supporting this, not falling against the rest. And we all know how much these stocks fell on 4th June. Portfolios were north of -6%. Indices were north of -6%. Whereas if you see what happened with Nifty Healthcare, it only fell. I mean, it fell, but quickly recovered to only give back less than 1%. So after that, so this was a very big sort of a signal saying that okay, brother, there could be some change happening here. And after that, the change showed. Similarly, CNX Pharma also similar thing happened, and FMCG also similar thing happened. So relative strength is always whatever magic you are trying to find in the market, or you thought, or for the initial few months, years, the magic bullet you were trying to find in the market is relative strength. Okay, so always be very cognizant of that. So similarly on 4th and 5th, what happened, if you see the Nifty FMCG index, forget a red closing, it gave you a positive closing, है ना? So what does this tell about the strength? The Mars is at 3.48, the M swing score is 0.5. Okay, so this means and you just have to see key, you just have to compare the M swing or this to the other name. So for example, if you compare PSU Bank is at -6. I think even less, -9, right? So the Mars is at -9, the M swing is at minus 0.42. So this is basically your relative strength score. Whereas if you see FMCG is at 3.48, pharma is at 5.15, health is at 4.5, and pretty close. IT would be really high, 4.12, and you can see like there is I mean no need to overanalyze, है ना? So above Mars, above zero, Mars in green means that that sector is in demand. That sector is bullish currently. So if you see some other sectors, so for example metals, है ना? Metals again after this area, this they're setting up nicely here. The breakout never came, and then they लुढ़क गए after 50. उसके बाद तो like it is now in black. So now this is metal index. But again, if you see couple of metal sort of stocks, if you see here, the highest performer, I mean, there are other ways to see relative strength also. So, for example, um, hold on, where are the metals? Okay, so in here you can see that sector 20 return in last 20 days. You can see that pharma is at the top, right? But in here you can see that metals are also very close. Okay, so then you have to know that okay, why is the metal still coming in high performing sector? And then if you then go to metals and see in the last 20 days which sort of names did well, you will see Maha Steel, POCL, Ramrat, Ramasil, MPSL, Good Luck, Prequire, blah blah blah, Phalana Dhimkana. And these names are here. They're mostly like smaller names, which names are not in your index. Okay, so the large cap metals are like not doing really well. Okay, but so why I'm showing you this data is that sometimes the indices might not be the correct representation of what is happening the sector as a whole, है ना? And metals is again a very big thing. Uske andar bhi you will have some this iron, that iron, blah blah blah. I mean, I don't know anything, all of those things. But again, not to club them all together like that. So you see, reality now was a really outperforming sector. Okay, and that happened somewhere here. No point of going back, but you can see that currently since like a couple of months now, like July, after this lurking thing happened from 50, this has now so until when the stock is strong, the 50 will be a support, and after the sector or stock or whatever has now become bearish, the 50 will be a slapper. It will not support, it will be a resistance. So Nifty reality is looking like that. Okay, um, Nifty infra is also not looking good. They at some point of time they were very strong, but lost their outperformance here. Same with CG Power. I mean, not CG Power. Capital Goods. Same with manufacturing. Same with industry. Now you see, now we are coming to more interesting things in the market. So if you see Nifty consumption index, do you think that this is from our market? I don't think so. This has stealthily become stronger and stronger, and you can also know because FMCG and consumption there is some sort of overlap, and you can also see M swing is 0.48. The Mars is 3.5, very similar to what FMCG is. In fact, 3.48 and 0.5. है ना? तो consumer is getting stronger. So now if you are someone who wants to like sort of make a positional entries, although the best time would have probably gone, but you can still, if you want to do well, you would still have to come to sectors which are working. And currently, these things are probably working. Nifty consumer durables. You see, they have been now strong, but they got stronger even more in the last couple of weeks. Very strong, 4.93. So telecom is right now fighting for its life at around 50. यहाँ से लुढ़क भी सकता है, यहाँ से ऊपर भी जा सकता है ना? So um, I mean 50, the 50 DMA has been a supporter till now, but currently we don't know. the relative strength is now poor. It's just clipped the zero. तो अभी कुछ भी हो सकता है जोन में है ना. Same with energy, oil and gas also. So let's look at a couple of custom index which I have made. Again, these are not the correct way to look at them, because you cannot um, uh, what so you cannot weight them. But if you see, then again, the Adani names are also very clearly not in favor of the market, you know. So mota mota what I'm trying to say is the relative strength आपको देखना बहुत ही जरूरी है. See this API names: DVs, Lauras, Natco, Chatco, Aarti Drugs has been since here, like, you know, since that June period, whenever the pharma names started to do well, whenever the pharma sort of broke out. After that, you see like full green, full green, right? Surfing the 1021. Okay. What happened to shipbuilders? Now shipbuilders, they were really strong till here. Till here, they were like looking really good, because strong stocks would they were to 1021 surfers. After that, ये broke down हुआ. निकल जाओ, निकल जाओ, don't take a chance, है ना. उसके बाद I was also in the hope that 50 would support. 50 also broke. After that, we are in that black hole territory. So currently, don't hunt. Wait for them to come back up. Put the reversal bases. Put your low cheat areas, and then there would be a time when, you know, things would going up over the 50. So until then, like, just watch. No need to go in. And so currently, again, the railway names are also at a similar point. Like, until this level, we're still fine. Yahan tak we still had ki, okay, it will now form like a low cheat, and then we probably will break out. But it did not come. So it did not come, so we'll not go in. So jewelry names are strong, and has been strong, and not now, like since that June, that area. And further, yeah, after, you know, the budget thingy again gave a push. So 1021 is the holy grail, है ना. So lot of chatter about the water names. Things are going sideways currently, and as long as this guy is below zero, I wouldn't you know. See, the surface. So for now also they are still strong, but यहाँ से अगर लुढ़क गया तो we'll be like, okay, we will wait for the 50 to act as a support, and then on the bounce we get in, not before. Same with these guys. The aqua names, they're also going sideways, almost giving up relative strength. But these finance names, kal parso, yesterday, I think I also saw someone share that there will be an index separately for these guys, like the likes of IEX, fintech, camps, वगैरह वगैरह, and they have been in huge strength, right? Same with the wealth management groups, um, and Daru is really strong. So alcohol has been really strong in the last couple of days and weeks. Yeah. So the main point I'm trying to say is that there could be time now that markets might probably go either sideways, or we be open to the fact that we might have a long term top, and trade accordingly, right? So so one way I have shifted my trading is, I sort of for positional names, I am long a couple of ETFs, and the ETFs I'm long in are from the group which are the highest relative strength, which would be FMCG, IT, and pharma. And as long as they are strong, I intend to hold them, and if they are not strong, then I'll probably rotate to names which are strong, because here and there will be a leader, albeit the momentum would probably be small, but there will be a leader. And for my swing trades, I am only looking at high relative strength names. Okay, so high relative strength names, not even the top 200, just the top 100 names. So every day, if you just look at the top 100 names, you will find names which will be bouncing off from the 1021, bouncing off from the 21. And I have stopped trading breakouts currently, because breakouts are not giving moves. In fact, what I am trying to do right now is what I'm trying to do right now is like, a sell on the breakout. So for example, what I did today was I sold 50% SMS Pharma, right about three, yeah, somewhere 380 or 370 somewhere. And so buying at a low risk 10 to 1 area, and then de-risking whenever I'm getting 2 hour 3 hour, and that's working so far so good, but could be a time when that also wouldn't work, because the breath is slowly getting worse, day by day. Okay, so like I said, I did not enjoy talking to you guys today here like this, because this has been a one way chat, which in my opinion is not a not the best way to learn. So hopefully next time I talk to you guys, I'll do this better. uh, Currently, I'll quickly see if you guys have some question, and if not, then we'll say goodbye, and maybe meet sometime else. All right, no more questions. Hopefully this was slightly helpful, and I'll see you soon then. Bye bye.